Hello everyone, here's problem 1-7 from start to finish. I'm again at home, so it's going to look a little bit different. File, New, grab the decimal template. Immediately when you get into something, get out of that white, which means paper. Get here and use that's the layer toolbar. You get the layer toolbar by right-clicking on any toolbar, setting of toolbars, learning to click on the layers here because I have that set, and not only clicking on but double clicking what you want to be your current layer. So again, we're going to start with a view layer so we can make a box bigger than the thing we're going to draft, and there's a box there already, so let's get rid of that because we don't want it. We're going to erase, and with that box, in this case, when you look at something like that, you know, it's probably going to need everything, all of at least 12 by 12. I'm going to introduce you here to something you're not going to do a lot of, and I'll explain why, but by clicking rectangle here and then not looking at the question, even though it's giving you a question, this is one case you don't, you just say at 12, 12, and it's going to make a 12 by 12 box. Alright, I'm going to begin that problem 1-7 on the far left side, and we're going to do it all by relative XY coordinates. Even though you could get some angle stuff, you could do it by offsets. I'll show that another time, how to do it by offsets. But offsets, you need to really manage your layers. So I'm going to right away change my layer to object. Begin again some point here, kind of arbitrary, and I'm going to then say at 1.25 comma minus 1.8. What is the at? Well, it's going to help for me to turn this off and say at 1.25 comma minus 1.8. And then again, remembering you don't have to carry the zero once you know that it's really there. There's my first one. And then at, it turns out to be the addition of 4.5 comma minus 0.95 at 4.5 comma minus 0.95. At, meaning from the last point, 2.75 comma 3.25. And you notice I am skipping over the interior piece because that's really a separate job. At, you're now going in a negative minus 0.75 comma a positive 2.5, and you're skipping the zero. Throw it in sometimes just so you can remind yourself. This next one, you're going at a minus 3 comma a minus 0.75. I'm sorry, 1.75. Throw that third zero in there every now and then to remind yourself of what's going on. At minus 2.25 comma no change in the y, at minus 1 comma positive 1.75. Throw that third zero every now and then. And then this would be a case where you could actually say close because you began correctly, but you might actually want to double check that this is at, and you want to go minus 1.5 comma minus 3, and it should get back to where you want it. In all reality, you're much better off having said line to the endpoint. Now you get to this point of wanting to actually have this idea of offset from some baseline, and so you know this would be a good spot to go with ortho. Turn your ortho on and change your layer perhaps to something like hidden dimensions, centerline. I'll use centerline here and draft a line from the shift right click, the end point of there. The ortho is on, so you can just kind of pull down and get it about in the right spot. Same thing, line, shift right click from the end point, ortho. You see it's trying to grab the mid because that's what I grab. So very often you got to escape out, L spacebar, shift right click, end point, get there, your ortho is on, so it does something like that. And now you really want to offset 1.25 and 1.75. Offset 1.25. O spacebar 1.25 off this baseline in the bottom. And offset 1.75 offset spacebar. O 1.75 here and here. You necessarily don't need these anymore, but you can do something here. I'm clicking, and then E for erase. Clicking, E for erase. Fillet, radius 0. Grabbing here and here. And you've got that established point. You're going to offset 2 there and 2.75. Offset 2. Offset 2.75. Fillet. You don't have to re-put in the radius because it remembers it. You grab this and this. Spacebar, grab this and this. Spacebar, grab this and this. And spacebar, grab this and this. And then going again to the standard toolbar and using that beautiful match properties, picking up the property and dropping it onto these 3 things. Escape, escape. There you have it, problem 1-7. Now, for those who wish, it's probably a great idea on a drawing that's at this scale to go to the dimension layer. Right-click in any toolbar to bring up a set of toolbars. Find the dimension toolbar. There it is there. And try to do stuff like this. Linear. Shift right-click from the endpoint of there. Shift right-click to the endpoint of there. And pull that down. And just try to get a couple of dimensions on there. Really learning to concentrate on the fact of the difference between the linear and the align. So this one here, shift right click from the endpoint there, shift right click from the endpoint there, and you see how it's going to dimension differently. You don't need to mimic the dimensions. We just want to learn that we can put them on there and get them on the right layer. Right now you realize you have something on a view layer, something on object layer, and something on dimension layer. Very early in the process I should have saved as, which I didn't, and very early I should have said -V, W for window, give it a name, plot view. If we've just got one window, shift right click, endpoint, shift right click, endpoint, and now you've got something in there named plot view. So when you say V for view, you can immediately go to plot view, set current, OK, and you jump right to it. I know these go fast in the video. That's why you have it on video. You can stop, write down a couple of these commands, come to class and ask them. We will go slower and stepwise in these videos as we go, but the expectation is that you're going to be wanting to stop these videos. So to summarize, I started my drawing. I forgot to save as, but I should have. I grabbed the correct template, quote unquote, being the decimal. I drew a box larger than the thing I'm going to draft. This time I used the rectangle command and I didn't look at the question it was asking. I just said at 12, 12. That's the way to use the rectangle command. I then began at some arbitrary point and used relative coordinates at something, comma, something, carrying that third 0 every now and then to remind myself that it is there and implied. Went around the pike, turned on the ortho snap right down here, and drew a couple of short lines that were horizontal and vertical. I could have just used offsets from the box, but you notice that box stays as one thing. So immediately, one thing you're going to want to do as soon as you get used to these is as soon as you draw a box, you're going to want to right click and explode it, or just say X for explode and grab that box. So now it makes it into separate pieces. I have got an established point here, did some offsets and fillets, radius 0, and I used the match prop. That was problem 1-7, start to finish, another correct way, and also added a little bit of dimensioning so you can start to learn to use layers and colors. Thanks for listening.